Hey everybody, welcome back to CALLOUS Draft League Finals. It has been a one-sided affair up to this point. We have a 3-0 match lead for the green team. This is damn near a must-win for the purple team. Not in a literal sense. They're not literally eliminated if they lose, but a 4-0 hole would be very, very difficult to come back from, and this is not an easy match to win. Zokuru is arguably the best player on the green team and one of the best players in the tournament. He is, after all, the champion of the CALLOUS Draft Duel tournament that I had before this, but he's playing against Manchild, who has also had a successful tour and seems like he's pretty good at the format. Don't know if he's better than Zokuru, but he's going to have to step up and get a W here against a very tough opponent, or purple is going to be in a tough position. It can happen, it needs to happen, or green is going to start running away with these finals. Let's get into it. Manchild as Big Hungry Worm is on the bottom, and Zokuru is on the top. Starmie and Regirock lead respectively. Advantage Starmie. Going to go for Reflect. And screen, in fact. So double screen for Starmie. That is unusual. What is he trying to set up in the back? Is it a drum? That would be very interesting here if it were to drum behind two screens. And I guess it actually could have done it there, as Heracross, which obviously does not learn a phasing move, ends up being the switch in, but much more tame than Belly Drum. It is just bulk up. But that'll be good enough because it seemingly has guts and is getting a very relevant attack boost from that para. So Heracross is going to go down, and now Dragonite is left to deal with the Hariyama. Fishing for full paras by clicking Substitute does get it the second time, and now Hidden Power Flying comes down. Brick Break does break the sub with the bulk up and the guts boost, but it's not about to live another HP Flying, so out of the way it goes. Tauros comes in for Intimidate. Has pretty good base defense, and it's got Toxic as well, so that was a pretty good handling there for Manchild. Starmie doesn't love the double edge there at all, and now Lapras is going to come in, actually, and it takes the double edge just fine. Lapras is a bulky gal, and Heal Bell there is going to remove a couple of the problems. I actually don't know if he wanted to remove the power from the Yama, because now it doesn't have guts anymore, but, well, now it can't full power anymore either, so I guess that will have to do. That is a big Ice Beam, 63%, but Wish is floating, and Tauros is going to be the recipient. That is going to undo the Thunderbolt and give him a net of +2, which is not that exciting, but better than nothing. Recover gets off, so the Starmie has either 1 or 0 actual attacks. We know that it's got double screens. It's going to start, of course, with Light Screen since he's staring down Regice. And there's a T-Wave for good measure. Dragonite comes in, and we've got a full para, so it's not clear what he wanted to do there. Perhaps it was just Reflect. But Tauros is going to come in to check it yet again. Going to sub on the switch, but not before being intimidated. Focus Punch coming down, and Starmie is going to handle that just fine. Could probably set up Reflect here without too much of an issue. Is actually going to start with Screen. Yeah, I mean, we hadn't seen the T-Wave, so in theory the last move could have been something like Thunderbolt, but now we know that it is a strictly physical Dragonite, and Reflect is up. Here comes Flygon now. Hidden Power there, just 14%, underwhelming with the double screen. Now going to switch it up to Focus Punch. Rock Slide going to miss wide and left. But even Focus Punch with the Reflect is not exciting, just 21%. Focus Punch again, this time Rock Slide does connect. Light Screen fades, but the one that's important in this matchup, Reflect, is still up for one more turn. And now Regirock comes in. That was the lead Pokemon, which of course does not take much from this Rock Slide. Starmie comes back, as does Dragonite. Reflect, of course, and Substitute. Shouldn't be able to do much damage here, but there's no reason not to try. Surf does not even pop the sub, full set of Starmie now known, and Focus Punch really doesn't do a whole heck of a lot better, just 13%. Follow-up Surf does pop the sub, and Starmie finds itself paralyzed yet again. And here's another Focus Punch. Jolteon going to come in. Despite the Reflect, that's actually going to be enough to kill. So Jolteon is going to go down. That's the first knockout of the game for Zokuru, leaving us in a 5-5 situation. And that is a big brick break on a vulnerable target. However, the retaliation Thunderbolt is enough to net a kill, so Zokuru now with the lead as he shows his last mon Charizard. That, of course, is immune to Earthquake, and that, too, is gonna click Substitute. But it's staring down a Pokemon that he already knows from before, has Rock Slide, so obviously has to be very aware of that. And this Charizard is gonna basically do a whole lot of nothing here. It's going to get a Flamethrower off, and that is it. And then Rock Slide is going to take him out. 4-4 situation here. Toxic misses Flygon. Now Starmie comes in and gets immediately boomed on. Fair enough. 3-3 now. Tauros comes in, gets a very meaningful Intimidate off on the Aerodactyl that is still poisoned from before. Double Edge and Return. Return there was not a critical hit. Tauros just hits that hard, and Aerodactyl drops. Lead regained for Manchild. Lapras here, a pretty good check to Dragonite. Full power though, and now Focus Punch is a very real threat. And that is, of course, what happens here. 59% and another unlucky full power for Manchild. Very bad timing for that. And now Lapras drops. Like I said, very poor time to get the bad luck there with the paras. Now Return is coming down. Focus Punch is obviously going to get the kill here. So Flygon is going to have to kill the Dragonite and the Regice. Remember, Dragonite can't flinch with Rock Slide because of Inner Focus, so that is not an out for him here. He's going to need a critical hit and a critical hit only, or this game will go the way of Zokuru. That Protect doesn't change anything. Hidden Power is still a 2-hit KO here. Rock Slide cannot crit when it does not hit. So down goes the Flygon, a back-and-forth game. Definitely some hacks in this one, especially the untimely paras on the Lapras. But it is going to be Zokuru winning Game 1, making life even more difficult for Purple as Green is up 3 matches and a game. Purple just cannot get anything going in these finals, and they are running out of time to do so. Manchild needs to find a way to win this match, and that starts by winning this game too. Go ahead and switch those sides for continuity. Purple needs to find a way to get on the damn board. Let's see if he can do it here. Gonna need 2 in a row against Zoc. Easier said than done, but let's see what he can do here. Manchild is Big Hungry Worm. He is on the bottom, and Zokuru is on the top. Metacham and Milotic, neither one is comfortable with it. We end up with Umbreon and Slowbro. Substitute happens now. Sableye probably can't break that unless it happens to have S-Toss, which it does. That's the exact move that he needs. Not clear what he was taunting there to prevent exactly, but carry on. Knockoff there does not knock off his leftovers when there's a substitute. And the BP is going to go to Lax. Seismic Toss, of course, is going to pop the sub. And, okay, I was going to say, what's to prevent a knockoff here? It's going to be the Snorlax outspeeding and having substitute. And Belly Drum. What is this now? Okay, Belly Drum Lax. 1-hit KOs Donphan with Return. And it's behind a sub. That's one way to send us to Game 3. This looks over. That is that. Holy shit. Man, that's the way to do it. 51 turn grind back and forth in Game 1. Fuck that. How about a 10 turn one-man army sweep in Game 2? Substitute Belly Drum Return Lax. And just like that, Zokuru is deadzo. And we are going to Game 3. That was easy peasy. Well, shit. All of a sudden, this is very winnable for Purple. And man, does 3-1 seem a hell of a lot better and more doable than 4-0. Can Manchild find a way to do it one more time? Does he have one more piece of Belly Drum shenanigans to take him where he wants to be, to keep Purple somewhat alive in these finals? One final time. Big Hungry Worm is Manchild on the bottom. Zokuru is Zokuru, I think, on the top. It's Game 3, and here come the big guns. It is Titar. Going to be countered apparently by Credilli with probably the world's worst Giga Drain. Going to do 17% against Wheezing. And that is a Sludge Bomb and a Poison. Pretty good turn there for Manchild. That Poison pretty obnoxious unless Zokuru has Bell support in the back. And he's going to miss Toxic, so a very good opening couple turns for Manchild. Here comes Credilli. But a double switch, so Wheezing is going to check that. Fair enough. Moltres comes in again, and that gets Sludge Bombed. So better have Rest or Morning Sun or something. That Moltres is already at 10%. And it does, in fact, have Rest. Because, of course, it does. Because it's Zokuru, the Stall Lord. It is still going to be forced out by Zapdos, though. And now Misdreavus comes in against Credilli. I assume it's pretty safe. Mean looking Rock Slide, fair enough. Credilli cannot switch. What can the Misdreavus do to it? And there's our answer, Perish Song. So all he has to do is stay alive for the next couple turns before he switches, and Credilli will be no more. Protect is obviously a good starting point. Perish count drops to 2. See if he goes for 50-50 Protector, if he's got something better to do. He's got Rest. Fair enough. So he's out of KO range from any move the Credilli could have there, even with a crit. And obviously the Credilli is going to drop next turn. The question is, what does he switch to? Answer, Wheezing. Rock Slide just 14% on the way out. And Credilli is going to drop. Manchild with the lead in this crucial Game 3. Swords Dance, though, for Zokuru. Probably not what he expected out of Celebi. And Ancient Power for 40%. But he is roared away, nevertheless. And now Blastoise is staring down the Zapdos. Obviously, Zapdos with the advantage in that matchup. Thunderbolt, aimed at the Blastoise, going to connect with Celebi that we know has Ancient Power. There is actually sand in this game, so any chip damage is meaningful. And there's a Registeel in the back for Zoc. Still unrevealed for both players, and it's going to be a Rest just to be safe, but he's going to have Rest talk here, or he's going to be worried about the Swords Dance getting passed somewhere. And here's Fori, but be careful. And he switches there rather than Baton Passes. And it's Hidden Power there trying to simply attack him, so it's probably HP Bug. Doesn't get a spike down, but probably not the end of the world. Blastoise almost certainly has Rapid Spin. And that's a kind of a weird protect for Manchild. It's just going to give Blastoise a free turn, but I guess he's not gaining lefties because of the sand, so no harm, no foul. Still a 6-5 game with Manchild in the lead. I've not seen the last poke yet for Zokuru. Sleep Talk happens, and it whiffs. Fair enough. Now Swampert comes in. Sleep Talk happens again, and it whiffs. Swampert going to begin cursing up now. Wakey Wakey Roar, fair enough, that boost is no more, and the full team is revealed for both players, so now that we understand the matchup, we'll see how they proceed, but looks like stallier, more defense-oriented teams for both players, so might have a longer game on our hands here. Another Roar user. I mean, it just makes sense. Roar is very good in this format to begin with, and he's got the Fori. And in fact, he can protect a bit from Rapid Spin if he gets some spikes down because of the Misdreavus, but has not yet found an opportunity to actually establish any spikes. It'd be good, though, because of the living Pokemon for Zokuru, 4 out of 5 are in fact grounded and spikes vulnerable. Swords Dance yet again. And there's Blastoise, so he does manage to get a spike down. Surf there. And Zap Cannon. Fair enough. 50-50. Coin flips do not always work out. That time it didn't. But it's another Surf, and crucially a Rapid Spin did not get off, so that spike is going to stay for now. There's a Roar, and that's going to prompt out the Moltres. See if he roars again, or if he just goes for T-Bolt. Interesting. Fori there must have been thinking that the Swampert was going to come in, but Moltres is going to go for Rest Talk, so Fori is kind of lucky to be alive there. Obviously, Flamethrower would have toasted it. That was pretty lucky, though. He finds not only Flamethrower 1 and 3, but he gets a 10% burn on top of it. Oh, fair enough. That also has Rest. Very sleepy Pokemon in this game. But nothing on Manchild's team can learn Heal Bell, so it's all going to have to wake up the old-fashioned way. Here comes Swampert. And there is Thunderbolt. Fair enough. Vaporeon now. And that's just going to get triggered by Water Absorb. Surf coming down. And Curse, sure. We already know the Vaporeon has Roar, however, so he should be able to deal with this unless he gets crit. Which he does not. He also didn't Roar, though. He just went for Surf, so he's content to go blow for blow here. And he gets crit, but that doesn't necessarily matter, depending on the damage roll. If that had been, say, like a 47-48% Earthquake, he would have died anyway to the sand, so I don't know how big of a deal that crit was, but that was a questionable wish turn, a questionable sequence. I mean, if he was going to wish, he should have done it the turn before. He probably should have just roared it out rather than surf it, but Zokuru will certainly take the way that that played out. So, much closer game now, 5-5. Gonna find Flamethrower in his sleep, but he's gonna die to T-Bolt regardless, so the lead goes back to Manchild, 5-4. There's Rest, fair enough. And Surf, which Zapdos is handling just fine for the most part. If this goes really, really long, pressure could be a factor, but we're not quite there yet. And he's going to find Roar in his sleep, dragging out the Blastoise. Going to go for it again. And he gets the one thing that he does not want to find. Roar or T-Bolt would have been acceptable there, so that was unlucky for Manchild. 2 times out of 3, something good happens there. If it's Thunderbolt, it would have been really, really good. But he got the unlucky 1 and 3, and the Rapid Spin did get off inconsequentially. So, leaves us in a 5-4 still, with Manchild still in the lead without a doubt, but would have been even more in the lead. Imagine if he T-Bolts Blastoise there. He's up 5-3, and he can't remove the spikes anymore, so we probably end up with 3 spikes versus 0. I think it is almost game over if he had found Thunderbolt there, so pretty huge risk for Zokuru to stay in there, but no justice in this world. Manchild found the one thing that didn't matter. Back and forth we go. Here is Mischievous blanking T-Wave on the way in. Don't remember where that is on sleep count. It has killed 0 turns. Make that 1 turn. Back to Zapdos, fair enough. And there is Surf, Kate. And there is Rest. And Surf yet again. Well, this time there's only one good thing he can find, because Thunderbolt and Rest both don't help him, so he's looking for Roar. Nope. And it's just a Surf back. Fair enough. Very stally game we have here. 2 pretty defensive teams. Wow. And he finds Thunderbolt, which is, again, not Roar, and he gets crit. Pretty unlucky for Manchild. Leaves us in a 4-4, but I now think Zokuru has the advantage, which is, like I said, kind of a tough break. I feel like Manchild had multiple opportunities here. I mean, when you run Rest Talk, you're obviously taking a chance on the RNG, but I think this game state could look very, very different right now, and a couple of bad Sleep Talk pieces of RNG later, Zokuru is probably going to win now, and that would be very, very bad for Purple. They are down 3 matches to 0. 4-0. Yeah. I mean, again, not saying it can't be done. Not saying it hasn't been done, but that's a tough hole to crawl out of, without a doubt. Blastoise and Fori now. Surf and Zap Cannon, which he's 0 for 2 on. Pretty unlucky yet again for Manchild. And there's the Surf KO. This is looking... Yeah. That's rough all the way around. That is rough for Manchild, and that is rough for Purple Team. I think a lot of the time with exactly the way that it played out with just a little bit of different RNG, Sleep Talk, Zap Cannon, what have you, I think that Manchild definitely could have won this game and often would have won this game with the exact moves that both players made. But they were both gambling on Rest Talk. For example, the unexpected Rest Talk from Moltres. If it had found Flamethrower there, it would have torched the Fortress. And then all the what-ifs later from Manchild's end couldn't have even happened. But then on the flip side, that Zapdos against Blastoise sequence, crucial. Thunderbolt, devastating if he finds that. Roar, acceptable because it goes first and it roars out the Blastoise before it gets an opportunity to click Rapid Spin. But he found Sleep Talk, which is unfortunate. Tough break. Really felt winnable for Manchild. He was very competitive in this series. Game 1, close. Game 2, stomp with this really cool lack set. And then Game 3, like I said, just a lot of RNG when you start relying on Rest Talk. But tough break for Purple at a really, really tough time when they cannot afford a tough break. Because that is now going to leave us with a commanding 4-0 lead for the green team. And I'm not ready to write the purple team off. It ain't over till the fat lady sings. But man, I can kind of sort of hear her rehearsing for her singing. 4-0, man. That is not easy to come back. Stick with me and let's find out together if they can do it. But right now, the green team that has been the wire-to-wire favorites all tournament long is showing why. Can Purple make the big boy comeback? Or is this simply Green's tournament to win? Stay tuned for the next matches.